Hey, it's Mark coming to you from Baker's Green Acres. Still the 16th, and this is a follow-on on that video that I just made. It was getting a little long. I want to kind of clarify a few things. If this is starting back up, and if we are in the education business, I think it's my duty to bring this to you. Why? Because this is a threat to small farms, and I hope to be able to explain to you how it's a threat to small farms. Although the DNR is saying they're trying to protect farms, what they're really trying to do is gain access to all farms through the invasive species order, right? Well, right now you have the Fourth Amendment. If they come to your place, you can tell them to get the hell off unless they have a warrant. And that works. That works. But with the invasive species order in place and with a lot of ground behind it, they could say that they're coming on for an invasive species inspection, which, oh, by the way, they just told you they're going to do it. So any of you that have filled out a USDA report and say that you have pigs on your place, they can come and inspect. So they say. So they say. And my question is, when they come on your place and they say, do you have any feral swine, feral hogs, old world swine? You might scratch your head and say, I don't know if I have any old world swine. And then they might say, oh, well, that's an old world swine. Bang. Right? So this is the problem. They've given themselves a tremendous amount of latitude to do something that we don't really understand why. And it's all in the name of protecting you and small farms. Against what? Okay, this is what we need to focus on this time. They're telling you that they're doing this because we have a tremendous problem in the state of Michigan of feral swine. Right? Those of you that travel the roadways, day in and day out, you see dead deer everywhere. So you could say we have a problem with deer, right? Because every time one of those deer gets hit, lots of damage to your car. Is that a problem? Yeah, if you hit one. Is it a problem if you want to go hunt them? No, it's a good thing. You know, I'm a rack hunter, right? So it depends on your point of view. If we had a lot of pigs running in the woods here, some people would think it's really great. But if you own a golf course, you might think it's not so good. The DNR is saying we have this huge problem and we have to stop it before it gets out of hand. And, you know, there's pigs everywhere, you know. Well, has anybody seen one? All right? Has anybody seen one eating on a dead deer on the side of the road? I go and talk in a lot of places, and I ask that question. And only one old woman, and she actually works for the Attorney General, raised her hand and said that she had an Uncle Tony that had seen a feral pig back in '73. So that's the only time anybody's ever, you know, acknowledged feral swine. The DNR has no proof. They come out continually and say that there's been sightings in 73 counties. Well, okay, people see Elvis, you know, and people see UFOs, but let's see some proof. So I gave you a phone number there. I want you to send a barrage of phone calls to that guy. He's just some low-level guy, and say, please send me the proof of this feral swine invasion. You as a taxpayer have the right to that because you have to make decisions. And if they won't send it to you, then your next step is to go to your state rep or your senator and say, you know, I'd like to see the proof of these feral swine. And let's get to the bottom of this. And that's what we sought to do in a court of law, was to get to the bottom of this, clarify this once and for all so it can't sneak back up on us. And here's proof that if we had done that, we wouldn't have this letter in front of us right now, which Rusty Mason is sneaking up behind us again, and they're going to come and inspect your property for feral swine. That's what they say in this letter. They don't usually do what they say, but they put out a letter anyway. And now is the time for you all to get involved. I made mention of the problem that's going on out west, and I said it's not my problem. I shouldn't have said it's not my problem. It is my problem. It's all of our problem, and it needs resolution, and I think we need to pay attention to it. I happen to know some of those men, and I don't think they'd get involved in something frivolously. I know their character. But that has to be looked at, and we have to look at that through the prism of the Constitution, and that's why I said it before and I'll say it again. You need to start carrying one of these around with you and get into it. At least the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. Get in there and understand those and start to apply them. Remember, if you leave your sword in your scabbard, it is of no use to anybody. It's just going to weigh you down. If you don't pull that baby and swing it from time to time, you got nothing. You got nothing. You're laid bare before the bureaucrats. Okay, so let's do that. Let's also talk to our senators and our representatives about the Constitution. And let's also keep in mind that our Attorney General, who would like to be our next governor, took an oath, a solemn oath, to protect and defend the constitutional rights of the people of this state. Let's keep that in mind, and let's keep that conversation going. Last year, about this time, I was at a briefing, and there was a retired general there by the name of Jerry